So this is the Kreg Rip-Cut. We use this thing all the time on our flex saw. We have a table saw and we could use the table saw, but we just find this is easier because we're not having to lift the panel and slide it through the table saw. We don't have a track saw, but honestly, I wouldn't use a track saw for this application anyways. It's just too easy, this Kreg Rip-Cut. If you think this is a DIY homeowner's tool, it is certainly not. This thing actually works really good. So what's nice is now that I've got it dialed in, I can just keep making repetitive cuts with this thing. If I need to move it, you can see right here, you've got your little gauge, and once you get this dialed in, you can quickly go to whatever measurement you want on the actual guide, and you can quickly make rips of any measurement without even pulling your tape out. It works super well. So now that we've used that Kreg Rip-Cut to rip all of our panels down to size, we need to install those 7/16 sheets on the wall. This is basically serving as a backer for our tongue and groove car siding, the wainscoting, whatever you want to call it, that's going to go on the wall below the drywall. So all of the drywall above that 7/16 OSB that I'm fastening to the wall, that's just going to be painted drywall. Everything below that will be the wainscoting. I'm using 2 3/8 inch ring shank framing nails to fasten the 7/16 to the wall. 2-inch ring shank nails would have worked fine as well. 2 3/8 are just what we had. You might notice those wires sticking out of the wall. No, they're not in a junction box, they're not in a receptacle box, and there is a reason for that. Basically, we want to be able to maneuver the receptacle in the wall wherever we want to locate it. That way we can land that receptacle right in the center of our car siding or paneling. That way we don't have an unsightly faceplate. The faceplate hanging over the edge and having a gap behind it, everywhere there's a groove, that's not a good look. By doing it this way, it allows us to install the old work box later, put the wires in that box, and maneuver that receptacle so that it looks good in our car siding. You might notice the gun that I'm using is the Paslode cordless framing nailer. Yes, it does take gas and a battery both, but it is the lightest cordless framing nailer on the market, and that's why we like those guns. We've never had a minute's problem with either one of the two guns that we have. We will continue to use Paslode. We like their guns. They have great customer service, and you can actually hang that gun off of your belt if you wear one, and it doesn't feel like it's weighing you down like some of the other heavier models that are battery operated only. That's why we like those Paslode guns. You might also notice we did not stagger our butt joints in our drywall above that OSB that we're fastening. Stay tuned. A little bit later in this video, I'll show you a little bit of drywall hanging and how we do it. It's a little bit unique. It's a little bit different than what you might have seen in the past. The insulation that we're using on this project is damp sprayed cellulose. We're a big fan of that product. We've been using it since the early 2000s and we've had really good success with it. We have a company come in and spray that in for us. They're done really quick and it's super economical. Has a really high R value, and we love the characteristics that it provides in the sound deadening department. So everything inside the building gets really quiet when we use damp sprayed cellulose. There is one small drawback. You do have to wait a few days after it's sprayed in because you have to run dehumidifiers and fans to draw that moisture content out before you start boarding over the top of it. So this is the kitchen wall. And you can see that we don't have any wainscoting on the kitchen wall because kitchen cabinets go there. So we need to put a sheet of drywall up here. We'd already drywalled the top because this is damp sprayed cellulose and we wanted all the moisture to leak down. We've got dehumidifiers and fans running. It's finally dried out after a couple weeks, and we're fixing to sheetrock this. But what I wanted to show was we've got some plumbing lines. You can see one right there. Got some plumbing lines in the wall, and we use our protectors, our in-wall protectors, to protect those plumbing lines so that I don't drive a drywall screw through it. But one extra step that we took was we routed the face of the 2x4 so that the protector would sit flush with the rest of it. So you can see there's no rocking on that square. It's nice and flush. Every one of them is nice and flush. There's no rocking back and forth so that you don't get that hump in your drywall. It's just a small extra step that we take to ensure a little bit of extra quality. We don't like wavy drywall. We did the same thing in here. This will get you a little bit better view of it. So right here you can see one of those protectors, and you can see no gaps. You can see how we hogged that out just a little bit. We did the same thing on our strong arm connections for our plumbing. We hogged a little bit out. Now we've got a nice flat surface for our drywall to go against. We don't have to worry about that bracket, the thickness of that bracket material pushing our drywall out. Got another strong arm over here. You can see that detail a little bit right there. So just another step that we take to ensure a little bit of extra quality, and it only takes a second's time. Here we're using Great Stuff foam adhesive to adhere the drywall panels to the studs. It's really nice stuff. Typically you use this stuff for subfloors, but it does say right on the can that you can use it for drywall panels as well, and that's what we've used it for quite a bit in the past. We have used the Titan drywall adhesive before, and it works really well too. I think the Titan foam goes a little bit further per can, but this has some advantages as well. This doesn't seem to roll off the studs as easy. It seems to be a little stickier, a little thicker, and it seems like that Titan foam is a little bit lighter weight, so it sometimes can roll off the stud and make a mess. That's the Flex cordless drywall router that he's using. It is super smooth. One thing that's really cool on that particular router is you can direct which direction you want the dust to flow. So depending on whether you're routing overhead or horizontally, you can direct the airflow from the motor so that you can direct the dust out or up. It's a really nice feature. That router is brushless and it is super smooth. I've never used a router that has felt that smooth. The drywall gun I'm using is also from Flex. It is super smooth, and you'll notice I'm using the collated attachment. Something that's nice about that gun, it comes with the collated attachment. You don't have to buy it separately like a lot of guns, and it actually works very well. You can see that I've already fastened the left side of that piece of drywall in the corners. A lot of times those collated attachments have troubles in corners. This one does not. This one actually works really well. I love that Flex drywall gun. Once again, best drywall gun I think I've ever used. Now if you'll notice what I'm fastening my screws to, I'm not fastening to a stud right here. I'm fastening to something called buttboard. It's something that we've used for quite a few years now. It's been on the market for sale from a company called Trimtex for years. But a lot of drywallers still have not adapted to using this method. We prefer it. We think it's faster. We've grown accustomed to using it. Basically what it does is it creates a recess instead of having to feather out a butt joint in the middle of the wall, creating a hump. This happens to be the kitchen wall, and what's worse than a hump in the middle of the kitchen wall where you're going to have to place cabinets? It's very frustrating. Using a buttboard eliminates that, and the joint is actually stronger. We build our own. I'll show you how to build your own buttboard so that you don't have to buy it in a future video. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the video. As I become more familiar with YouTube and the video editing process and shooting videos on the job site, the better the quality of the videos will be. We do a lot of different things on the job every day. A lot of guys will have subs come in and do a lot of the jobs that we do. We don't have access to good subs in our area, so we find ourselves doing the job ourselves, which will provide for a very big variety of projects. You're going to see a lot of different tools on the job site. You're going to see us do a lot of different techniques on the job site, so stay tuned for more videos in the future. Until next time, hope you guys enjoyed it. you.